Elias Ward had traveled across stars, through wormholes, and past asteroid belts, but nothing prepared him for the moment.
Oh.
He stepped into the throne hall of Kavoria. The ceiling stretched high like the sky itself. Floating crystal lights glowed softly above, and the floor below was a strange smooth metal that hummed under his boots. Alien nobles in shimmering armor stood in silent rows on both sides, their eyes glowing faintly like stars. They were tall, elegant, and dangerous looking. And at the far end of the hall sat Queen Yashara of the Varelians. She sat tall on a throne carved from obsidian, wearing silver robes that shimmered like moonlight. Her 4 eyes studied Elias with curiosity and amusement. Violet, her long silver hair braided with rings of gold. The room was silent as she rose to speak. "You are Elias Ward, human," she said in a voice that was both music and warning. "Earth's final gift of diplomacy before war." Elias took a breath and stepped forward. "Yes, Your Majesty, I come in peace, hoping for the same in return." She smiled. "Small, sharp thing. For 5 cycles, your kind has spoken through. Machines and messages. You seek alliance, peace, and trade. But we are Varelian. We do not shake hands. We bond blood." Elias blinked. "I don't follow." Queen Yashara stepped down from her throne, her guards staying perfectly still. She walked slowly toward him, her gaze locked on his face. The crowd murmured, "We have studied your kind. Humans believe in family, in loyalty, in ... marriage." Frowned. "That's true. But what does that?" She stopped inches from him. "Then let us form the strongest alliance possible. Human, marry me." The hall fell into complete silence. Elias's brain stopped working for a moment. He had faced gunfire. He had negotiated ceasefires on burning moons. But this... "Wait," he said slowly. "You want me to marry you? Like, marriage?" Shara gave a single nod. "Yes. You will become royal consort. Unity by blood. Varelians do not break bonds." Elias looked around, half expecting someone to laugh or say, "Just kidding," and no one did. The nobles only watched with cold, curious eyes. I wasn't expecting this," Elias said. Yashara's smile widened. "Then expect more. For this alliance to last, you must also take my sister as wife." Elias felt the floor sway under his feet. "Both of you?" "Yes," said a new voice. From behind the throne stepped a second woman, taller, slimmer, but with the same silver hair and glowing eyes. She wore armor, not robes. Her presence was sharper, more dangerous. This was Princess Kelrin, Yashara's younger sister and one of the most feared generals in Varelian space. "I do not agree with Yashara often," Kelrin said. "But on this, I do. A human heart bound to both our houses may prevent civil war, or at least ... buy us time." Elias opened his mouth, closed it, then opened it again. "You can't be serious," he finally said. "Why?" Single quotes. Shar raised one perfect eyebrow. "You will not find a better offer in this galaxy, human. Refuse, and we return to the old ways. War." Elias's brain spun. Marry to alien royals. That wasn't diplomacy. It was madness. And yet, this could stop a war. This could save millions. He took a deep breath. "I need time," he said. "You have until the moon's rise tomorrow," Kelrin replied. "Then we expect your answer." They both turned and walked away, leaving Elias in the middle of the throne hall, heart pounding, mind racing. Later that night, Elias sat alone in his temporary quarters. The walls shimmered with strange moving light like the surface of water. He stared at the ceiling, trying to process what just happened. The door slid open. A small floating orb entered the voice assistant assigned to him. "You appear stressed." "Ambassador Ward," the orb said. "Understatement of the year," Elias muttered. "But they want me to marry them. Both of them." "That's not diplomacy. That's science fiction. It is Varelian law," the orb replied. "Marriage is the highest form of alliance. To marry both royal sisters is rare. It means they wish for you to act as balance. Your est. Peace. Elias rubbed his face. If I say no? Likely outcomes. War with the Galactic Council. Increase in border raids. Possible planetary sieges. He groaned. Great. Shall I prepare marriage documents? The orb asked cheerfully. Absolutely not. The next morning, Elias was called back to the throne hall. This time it was not empty. Crowds had gathered. Nobles, warriors, scribes, even alien press. Clearly, this was no private matter. Queen Yashara stood beside Kelrin. Both looked calm, collected, and dangerous. Have you decided, human? Yashara asked. Elias stood tall. He was a man of peace, but he was also a human. And humans never back down easy. I came to Kavoria to prevent war, he said, not to become part of your royal family. Whispers stirred in the crowd. But Elias continued, raising his voice. If this is the only path to peace, then I'll walk it. Gasps, murmurs, surprise. Queen Yashara smiled again, wider this time. Then it is settled. The human shall join the house of Varel. Kelrin gave him a long, unreadable look. We'll see if you survive long enough for the wedding, Elias sighed. What have I just agreed to? He muttered. Elias Ward had faced strange things before. Glowing bugs on Titan, gravity storms near Neptune, even a robot that tried to sing love songs in the middle of a ceasefire. But nothing was stranger than preparing to marry to alien sisters, one a queen, the other a general, and both of them, as it turned out, had very different ideas about what courtship meant. Day 1, trial of spirit Elias, was woken up by loud drums. Not music war drums. 2 guards stood at his door, tall and silent. One spoke. Today you face the trial of spirit. The queen awaits. Elias groaned. Can I at least have breakfast first? No. They led him through sharp tunnels carved from crystal and stone. Outside, crowds waited in an arena. Varelians cheered and watched from above. Queen Yashara stood at the center of a glowing ring. She wore ceremonial robes and held a glowing staff. To marry into royalty, she said, a human must show strength not with weapons, but with the mind. Answer my questions. Fail, and you walk the path of shadows. Elias squinted. Is that a poetic name for something? Or do I die if I get the questions wrong? Both, Yashara said, smiling great, Elias thought. She began asking questions. Logic puzzles, alien history, cultural facts. Some were easy, others nearly impossible. But Elias was smart. He had studied before coming to Kavoria. He answered calmly, clearly, with just enough sarcasm to make her raise an eyebrow, but not kill him. Finally, she asked, why did you agree to this marriage? The crowd went quiet. Elias looked at her because peace is more important than comfort. I'd rather share a crown with 2 dangerous alien women than send thousands of soldiers to die in space. Shara stared at him for a long time, then nodded. The human is past. Day 2. Trial of strength the next day. Kelrin was waiting. She did not offer him riddles or robes. Instead, she threw a sword at his feet. Pick it up, she said. Why? Elias asked. I thought Varelians valued peace. For the weak, you wish to marry a general who must show you can fight. This is the trial of strength. Elias sighed and picked up the sword. It was heavy, too heavy. Kelrin smiled. Good, let's begin. She came at him fast, like a blur. He barely blocked her strike and stumbled backward. Try again, human. They fought for 10 minutes. Elias was losing badly. He was sweating, bruised, and gasping. But he didn't fall. Kelrin circled him like a predator. You are slow, weak, soft. Elias raised his sword. Yeah, but I'm still standing. She stopped, looked at him closely. Then, without warning, she dropped her weapon. Trial passed, she said. He blinked. Wait, seriously? You didn't quit, she said. Varelians respect that. Then she walked away. Day 3. Trial of the wild Elias. Thought he might get a break on the 3rd day. He was wrong. Yashara and Kelrin stood together this time, both in light armor. The last trial, Kelrin said, is survival. You must. Last one, full night in the forest of Terenth. That sounds almost peaceful, Elias said. Kelrin smirked. It's not. The forest is home to the Nazari, a telepathic predator. It hunts thoughts. Great, Elias muttered. So now my brain can get eaten too. They handed him a small knife, a torch, and a translator cube, then shoved him toward the jungle. The forest of Terenth was silent. Too silent. No birds, no wind, just thick glowing plants and the soft sound of his boots on moss. Elias walked for hours. Every few minutes he thought he saw something moving. A shadow, a pair of eyes, then nothing. Around midnight he heard it, a whisper. Are weak? He spun around. Who said that? Silence. You don't belong here. It wasn't a voice in his ears. It was in his head. The knees zingle. You are Elias. Gripped the knife tight. Not listening. Go away. The voice hissed again. You'll fail. They'll kill you. Nope, not today. He sat down, closed his eyes, and focused. He thought of Earth, of the sun, of coffee, of his little sister who once built a rocket out of cardboard.
Happy thing.
Human things, the voice hissed louder, then ... faded by morning. The jungle was quiet again. Elias walked out, tired but alive. Kelrin met him at the edge. You made it, barely. Good. The Nazari didn't break your mind? Tried, but I'm stubborn. She looked impressed. Stubborn is a survival skill. The sisters speak that evening. Elias was summoned to a private garden deep in the palace. Both Yashara and Kelrin waited for him under a glowing tree. You passed our trials, Yashara said. Barely, Elias replied. Your traditions are wild? Kelrin smirked. You humans have soft hands and loud mouths, but you surprise us. Yashara stepped closer. People like you, the nobles, are uncertain. Some think this marriage is foolish. Others think you're clever. I just want peace, Elias said. Kelrin raised an eyebrow. Even if it means marrying to alien sisters who might kill you someday? Elias gave a tired smile. Honestly, at this point, I'm more afraid of your kitchen food than your politics. Both sisters laughed softly for the first time. You are strange, Yashara said. But maybe that's what we need. She reached forward and placed a glowing pendant on his neck, a symbol of engagement. Kelrin did the same. The weight of the two pendants felt heavy. Elias looked down at them, then up at the sky. So, when's the wedding? Shh, I smiled. Soon. The days before the wedding were busy, loud, and dangerous. Elias Ward, a fiancé to Varelian royals, had become the most talked-about person on the planet, Kavoria. Some called him the chosen human. Others called him the fool of Earth. He wasn't sure which one he believed more. Preparations begin. The wedding was planned to happen on the twin peaks of Thalcor, sacred mountain, where royal vows had been made for thousands of years. The air was cold and thin, but the view was beautiful. From the top one could see the glowing oceans and the silver clouds of Kavoria. Varelian workers, soldiers, and priests moved like ants, setting up the grand platform. Thousands of nobles from across the stars had been invited. Elias walked beside Queen Yashara, both in ceremonial robes. She pointed to the stars. See that cluster? That is the Kiri belt. When it aligns with the mountain peak, it marks the time for the vow. Stars telling time, Elias said, smiling. Better than wristwatches, you joke, Yashara said, but this is serious. You're not just marrying us, you're becoming part of the ruling line. I know, Elias replied. I'm still human. I use humor to survive. She didn't smile, but her eyes softened. The warning later that evening. Elias was summoned by Earth's ambassador, a serious man named Director Havers. His gray suit looked out of place among the aliens' stone and light. You're making a mistake, Elias Havers said. Elias leaned against a railing, staring at the red moon rising. I thought you were here to support the mission. Marriage was never part of the mission, Havers said, frowning. You're getting involved in Varelian politics? Deeply. If war breaks out, Earth might be dragged in. I'm preventing war. You think that? But Kelrin and Yashara are powerfully and dangerous. If you stand between them and power, one of them might kill you. Or worse, use you. Elias crossed his arms. I passed their trials. I've spoken to their people. I've earned their respect. Have her side. Respect can turn to fear, and fear leads to war. Elias said nothing. But his mind was not at peace. The assassination attempt the next day, Elias was invited to a ceremonial hunt in the Mungrove forest, an old Varelian tradition where future rulers connect with nature. Yashara and Kelrin wore light armor. Elias had a training spear and a survival knife. They walked through tall trees glowing with soft purple light. But something felt wrong. The forest went silent. Kelrin stopped moving. Get down. Elias obeyed just in time. A plasma bolt tore through the trees above him. Soldiers in black armor dropped from the canopy, surrounding them. Traitors! Yashara shouted. She raised her weapon and fired. The battle was short and brutal. Kelrin moved like a storm, taking down enemies with quick, brutal strikes. Elias stayed low, using cover and helping where he could. In the end, 10 attackers lay dead. One was captured, wounded, bleeding, but alive. Yashara questioned him, her voice sharp. Who sent you? The soldier hissed. The High Council. They fear what your marriage will create. Elias stared at them. The Council. I thought they supported peace. They support control, Kelrin said. Not change. Not humans. Elias felt a deep chill in his chest. This marriage wasn't just political anymore. It was dangerous. The truth revealed that night. Kelrin entered Elias's chambers. Her armor still stained from the fight. I need to tell you something, she said. Elias looked up from his desk. Please say it doesn't involve more killers and trees. Kelrin sat across from him. For once, she looked tired. Human. The council doesn't just fear you, she said. They fear me. I've grown too strong, too popular. Shara rules the throne, but I rule the army. Elias listened carefully. If I marry you, she continued, and we combine our houses, the nobles might crown me instead of Yashara. That's why she agreed to share you, to keep me close, to watch me. Elias stood up, running a hand through his hair. So this whole thing was a power game? Not completely, Kelrin said. I've come to respect you, maybe even like you, but make no mistake, this wedding is a battlefield. So what do you want me to do? Choose a side, hers or mine. Leah shook his head. You're both my future wives. I didn't come to pick sides, I came to stop war. Kelrin rose, her expression hard again. Then you better find a way to do both. She left, and Elias stood alone. The arrival of the war fleetin', the morning of the wedding. Just as the sun rose and the Kiri belt aligned in the sky, a deep rumble shook the mountains. Everyone looked up. A massive council dreadnought entered orbit, followed by 20 smaller ships. Their shapes were dark and sharp, casting shadows over the wedding site. An emergency message buzzed in Elias's earpiece. Human Representative Elias Ward. This is Fleet Commander Oren of the Council Navy. You are ordered to stand down and cancel this political union immediately. If you do not, we will consider this a rebellion. Shara's face turned to stone. They threaten us on our wedding day. Kelrin looked at Elias. They won't just threaten, they will attack. Elias swallowed hard. Can you stop them? Yashara nodded. If we fight together, Kelrin added, but only if you stand with us. As one, Elias looked at the sky. Warships above, eyes. Thousands of lives below. He took a deep breath. Let's finish the wedding first. The vows, the mountaintop, under the stars. Elias stood between Yashara and Kelrin. A priest read the vows in ancient Varelian. Do you accept this bond? The priest asked. I do, Elias said. Do you accept this bond? The priest asked the sisters. We do, they said together. The crowd cheered. Lights flashed. Fireworks fired into the sky. Then the message came. Final warning, surrender your position or be destroyed. Yashara turned to Elias. Time to make your first decision as royal consort. Elias stepped forward and activated his communicator. This is Elias, Ward of Earth, he said, voice calm and strong. I have joined the house of Varel by blood and vow. If you attack us, you attack Earth. The line went silent for a moment. Then, so be it. Prepare for bombardment. The sound of wedding music had barely faded before the sky burned red. From above the mountain, the Council's warfleet moved into attack position. Huge battleships cast shadows over the stone ceremony platform, while smaller cruisers began charging. Their plasma cannons. Elias Ward, now husband to both Queen Yashara and General Kelrin, stood with his back straight, his heart beating fast. This was supposed to be a peace mission now. It was war. We are under attack. Screams rose from the mountain's lower levels as Council ships began firing warning shots near the base. Explosions lit the forest in orange. Light, shields up, Kelrin shouted, speaking into her come. Evacuate the guests. Move the civilians to the underground vaults. Yashara turned to Elias. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were sharp. This is not a full attack yet. They're testing us. It's waiting to see how we respond. What do we do? Elias asked. We respond with unity, she said. Kelrin stepped forward, or we respond with fire. Elias looked at both sisters. No, not yet. If we strike first, we lose the moral ground. Kelrin frowned. Moral ground won't stop plasma bolts. Yashara gave a nod, but it might buy us time. A message to the stars. They rushed into the mountain command chamber, a tall room filled with screens and glowing orbs that showed the movement of every ship in the sky. Elias stood at the center console and opened a direct channel to all ships above. This is Elias Ward, human ambassador and royal consort of House Varel, he said, voice steady. The wedding has taken place. The bond is sealed. If you attack now, you will not only fire on your own people, but you will start a war with Earth. The message echoed across all channels. There was a pause. Then a calm voice replied, This is Fleet Commander Orin. Earth will not save you. Human, you are just a pawn in Varelian power games. Stand down, or you die with them. Elise's hands curled into fists. Then you'll have to come down here and kill me yourself. He cut the channel. The betrayer among them back in the throne chamber, the royal guards formed ranks. The mountain shook again as enemy ships fired into nearby canyons. Making landslides fall like thunder suddenly, one of the inner doors burst. Open and a wounded guard stumbled in. Majesty, he gasped, our own ships. Some of them are turning against us. Kelrin's eyes narrowed. What? They've changed calcines. They're switching allegiance to the Council fleet. They're letting the dreadnought through our defense wall. Elias looked at Yashara. He said the nobles were divided. She nodded grimly. You have a traitor. They didn't have to wait long to find out who. A tall noble stepped through the doorway. His name was Lord Viaran Taller, dressed in gold armor, and his voice echoed with confidence. I warned you, he said, bowing mockingly. Bringing a human into our house would destroy it. Now you've tied our blood to earth, to weakness. Chaos. Kelrin pulled her weapon. You join the council. I lead the rebellion now, he said. Step down, or your new husband dies first. Elias looked at Yashara. Please tell me you have a backup plan. She smiled coldly. Yes, and it begins now. The escape route while Kelrin and her guards fought off Viaran Taller's men. Yashara grabbed Elias's hand and ran through a hidden door behind the throne. The corridor was tight and dark. This leads to the Skyblade. My personal stealth ship, she said. I thought you said running would look weak, Elias said. Not running, she replied. Strategic withdrawal. Ran through tunnels. Carved in crystal, echoing with distant gunfire. Elias couldn't believe how quickly everything had fallen apart. Yesterday, he was making vows. Now he was dodging bullets. At the landing bay, the Skyblade shimmered like liquid metal. Its wings folded tightly, and it hovered just above the platform. Get in, Shara ordered. But before they could board, Council assassins dropped down from the ceiling. Elias shoved Yashara aside and raised a fallen blaster. He fired. The assassin fell. Yashara stared at him. "You just saved my life, Choju," Elias said, breathing hard. "I'm not just some soft Earth diplomat." Reuniting with Kelrin meanwhile. Kelrin was bleeding from a cut across her shoulder, but she fought like a storm. Her double-bladed spear spun in her hands. Striking down 3 attackers in seconds, she saw one of her generals falter and fall. She knew then they were outnumbered, but just before she gave the order to retreat, the Skyblade roared overhead. Blasters rained down from above as Yashara fired from the cockpit. The guards regrouped, pushing back the traitors. The ship landed, and the hatch opened. "Get in," Leah shouted from inside. Kelrin leaped in, gripping his shoulder as she passed. "You better not crash this thing," she said. "No promises." Elias replied. The ship soared into the air, cloaking itself from the enemy fleet, the hidden base far in the frozen north of Kavoria. The Skyblade landed in a secret base built into an ice cliff. The walls glowed blue and ancient Varelian. Tech hummed with energy. "This is our fallback command," Yashara said. "Built in secret. Only a few know of it." Elias looked around. "Because our wedding gift was a rebellion." Kelrin laughed bitterly. "You still have jokes? Or one move away from losing the throne?" "Jokes help me think," Elias said. "I'm thinking this. The Council believes we've been defeated. Let them believe that. Use the time to gather loyal ships. Strike back. Not with just weapons, but with truth." Yashara raised an eyebrow. "Truth? We broadcast what happened," Elias said. "Let every system see that the Council tried to kill you in your wedding day. Let them see who fired first." Kelrin looked at Yashara. "It might work. The Council hides its violence under rules. If we show they broke their own laws, then they lose public support," Yashara finished. Elias nodded. "We don't just fight with guns. Fight with stories." The hidden message that night, Elias worked with Varelian engineers to create a hollow message. It showed the ceremony, the ships above, the Council's threats, and the assassin's attack. "This is the truth," Elias said in the video. "You don't have to believe in peace between humans and Varelians, but you should believe in honor. In truth, and the truth is this, the Council has become afraid, not of me, but of unity." The message was sent through deep signal relays across all systems. Now, all they could do was wait. The snow outside the hidden base had turned red, not from blood, but from the sky, above the frozen cliffs of Kavoria's North Pole. The Council's war fleet hung like a sword ready to fall. The air shimmered with charged plasma. The ground below rumbled with the footsteps of an approaching army. Elias Ward, now bonded to Queen Yashara, and General Kelrin, stood between them in the command chamber, staring at the battle screen. "It's time," Kelrin said. "They're coming to end this," Yashara added. Elias took a breath. "Then let's make sure they regret it." The shift in the stars, the hollow message Elias had recorded, had already reached dozens of Varelian systems. Across the stars, nobles, soldiers, and even small colonies had seen the proof. The Council had attacked a peaceful wedding, tried to kill their own queens, and betrayed their own laws. Now responses were coming back. Green markers lit up on the Maployal ships rising up from allied systems. Hundreds of them. "They're answering your call," Kelrin said, shocked. "You're joining us." Elias nodded. "They're not fighting for me. They're fighting for what's right." Ashah touched his hand. "Then let's lead them." The final plane Kelrin took over the tactical map. "We split the fleet," she said. "Half engages their front lines. The other half sneaks through the asteroid belt and attacks from the rear." Shara added, "We send a personal strike. Team to the Council dreadnought. Take out their command. If we remove their voice, the rest will collapse." Elias looked at them both. "And who goes on that mission?" Kelrin smirked. "Us," Shara nodded. "We started this together. We end it together," Elias sighed. "I was hoping you'd say that." Boarding the enemy ship hours later, in deep space, amidst the fire and light of starship battle, a small stealth shuttle cloaked its way to the enemy dreadnought. Inside were the three most dangerous people in the galaxy right now: a human who had married into power, a queen betrayed by her council, and a general with war in her blood. As they approached the hangar, alarms screamed and lights flashed. "They've spotted us," Kelrin said. "Too late for them," Elias replied. The shuttle crashed in two. The landing bay with a hard jolt. The doors burst open, and the three stormed out. Blasters fired. Soldiers ran. But none could stop them. Yashara used her mind-link technology to freeze enemy tech. Kelrin tore through their defense lines. Elias, using tactics he had learned during Earth military training, took cover and moved fast, using every shot wisely. They fought their way through metal corridors, climbing toward the bridge. Confronting the commander, the bridge door finally opened. Inside stood Fleet Commander Orin, tall, calm, and dressed in silver armor. He turned to face them as if expecting this. "So the royal family brings a human to do their killing," he said coldly. "No," Elias replied. "I came to stop the killing, but you left me no choice." Commander Orin raised a blade. "Then die with them," he charged. What followed was a three-way duel of steel and fire. Yashara fought with her energy staff, Kelrin with her twin blades. Elias dodged and distracted, using his small blaster and knife. Orin was fast but not fast enough. In the end, Kelrin caught his arm. Yashara hit him with a shock pulse, and Elias, using the last of his strength, drove his knife into Orin's chest plate. The commander fell to his knees. "History will forget you," he said. Elias looked at him. "No, it'll remember that we didn't run." Orin collapsed. The tide turns with the enemy commander dead. The bridge was taken. Signals were sent. The dreadnought's weapons fell silent. Ships across the battlefront received the message. The council has fallen. Some surrendered. Some fled. Some turned their weapons on each other in confusion. The Varelian loyalists, led by Yashara and Kelrin's united fleet, seized victory. Cheers echoed across space. The rebellion was over. The new throne weeks later. In the great crystal palace of Thal Cornell, rebuilt after the battle, Elias stood again on the high platform, but this time not for a wedding. This time it was a coronation. Queen Yashara stood in royal robes, her crown glowing with the light of the Kiri belt above. Beside her stood Kelrin, officially named Warlord, Protector of the Empire. And between them stood Elias Ward, no longer just an Earth ambassador. He was now Consort Temperer of the Varelian Empire. As the crowd of thousands cheered, Elias whispered to his wives, "Does this mean I have to give speeches now?" Yashara smiled. "Yes," Kelrin smirked. Elias sighed. "I miss coffee already." Peace begins with the council destroyed and the traitors gone. The empire began to rebuild. Former enemies sent diplomats. Old colonies returned to the fold. Even Earth opened full diplomatic channels and trade agreements. For the first time in 100 years, Varelian space was at peace. Elias worked with both sisters to create new laws, fairer systems. He encouraged Earth-style voting in local colonies. He helped merge cultures. Some nobles still hated him, but many respected him. After all, he was the human who married not one, but two Varelian queens and saved a galaxy from civil war. One last question one evening, on the palace balcony. Elias stood with both queens under the stars. "Do you regret it?" Kelrin asked. "Which part?" Elias replied. "Falling through a death trial, being chased by assassins, or nearly getting blasted out of the sky." Yashara laughed softly.
We mean
"Becoming one of us." Elias looked at the stars. "I came here to sign a treaty," he said. "But I found something better." "What?" Yashara asked. He looked at them both. A reason to stay. They stood together in silence, watching the stars. The war was over. The future was just beginning.